My Jeff laughed when I proposed at her birthday party. "You're like a brother to me." After 5 years of planning our future, I just nodded, thanks for the clarity, and did this. Reddit. Imagine investing in someone you thought you were building a future with, only for her to call you brother in front of 35 people. Yeah, that happened to me. I'm 29, male, a software engineer, pulling in $150,000 annually. Met Selena 5 years ago in college through mutual friends. She was this stunning marketing major with perfect hair and the kind of smile that made you forget your own name. I was immediately hooked. But Jess saw right through her act. "That girl's faker than a knockoff designer bag," she told me after meeting Selena the first time. "She only talks to you when she needs something, and she flirts with other guys right in front of you while you're paying for everything. You're just being protective." I said, "You don't know her like I do." Jess rolled her eyes. "Danny, I'm a woman. I know exactly what she is. She's collecting backup boyfriends like trading cards." Here's what I should have noticed. Selena never introduced me as her boyfriend, ever. It was always, "This is Daniel," or "Daniel and I are really close." When people asked directly if we were dating, she'd get this mysterious smile and say, "We have something special that doesn't need labels." Yes, something special. All right. I was her unpaid personal assistant with benefits that didn't exist. The thing that really hooked me was how she'd talk about our future, but only when she needed something. "When we get our first house, I want a big kitchen so I can cook for you." She couldn't boil water. "When we have kids, I hope they get your eyes and my nose." "When we get married, let's do something small and intimate." She had me planning our retirement while keeping me in relationship purgatory. Here's where I was a complete idiot. I thought I was being strategic by being the perfect provider. Selena's car breaks down. I'm there with a rental car and $800 cash for repairs. Behind on rent, I Venmo her $1,200 before she finishes asking. Need help moving? I show up with a U-Haul, 3 friends, and catered lunch for everyone. Yes, I was that whipped. But hey, it's in the past. I calculated it during a slow day at work. $23,400 over 5 years. That didn't include labor, emotional support, or the opportunity cost of being on call 24/7. 23 grand? That's a Tesla Model 3 down payment. The intimacy issue should have been the biggest red flag. 5 years, and we'd barely gotten to second base. She always had some excuse. I want our first time to be perfect. Physical stuff complicates things. Let's take it slow. Meanwhile, she'd wear tight dresses when we went out and flirt with guys for free meals right in front of me. Apparently, taking it slow meant never taking it anywhere except to the bank, while she was moving fast with random dating app guys. I found out later she'd been hooking up with guys within hours of matching with them, but me, the guy subsidizing her lifestyle, I got hand-holding and forehead kisses like we were in middle school. Selena's 28th birthday was my line in the sand. After 5 years of maybe dating, I was going to force the issue. Either we were making this official, or I was done. I spent 3 months planning the perfect party. Rented the private room at her favorite restaurant, hired a professional photographer, coordinated with all her friends and family. The ring cost me $6,800, white gold with a 1.5 carat diamond. I knew her taste because she'd jokingly shown me rings on Pinterest for 3 years, always pointing out the expensive ones. Jess thought I was making a mistake. "Danny, if she wanted to marry you, you'd already be engaged. Don't put yourself out there like this." But I was convinced this was our moment. All those conversations about marriage, all those hints about wanting to be with me forever. This was just the final step. The party was perfect. About 35 people there, including Selena's parents, who'd always treated me like a future son-in-law. Her mom had even asked me privately when I was going to make it official, and mentioned she'd been saving her grandmother's wedding dress. After dinner, I stood up for the toast. I felt confident. "I want to say something about Selena," I began. The room went quiet, and I could see people starting to smile like they knew what was coming. "These past 5 years with you have been incredible. You're my best friend, my partner, and the woman I want to spend my life with. You've made me a better man, and I can't imagine my future without you in it." Selena was beaming, looking beautiful in the blue dress I bought her. Then I got down on one knee. The whole room gasped. I opened the ring box. "Selena Marie, will you marry me?" The silence lasted maybe 3 seconds but felt like an hour. Then Selena started laughing. Not nervous giggles, full-blown uncontrollable laughter, like I just told the funniest joke she'd ever heard. "Oh my God, Daniel," she said loud enough for everyone to hear. "That's so sweet, but you know we're just best friends, right? This is so awkward." She was still laughing while the entire room stared in horror. The silence was deafening. Her dad looked confused and angry. Her mom looked mortified. My friends looked ready to commit murder. I'm still on one knee holding this ring while she's explaining to everyone that I'm basically her platonic life partner with a credit card. "I mean, we've never even, she continued, making it worse. "Daniel's just always been so helpful and sweet, like a really good friend." I stood up slowly and put the ring back in my pocket. "Well," I said, forcing a laugh, "good to know where we stand after 5 years." A few people gave nervous laughs. Selena seemed genuinely confused by everyone's reaction, like she couldn't understand why proposing to your brother might be weird. "Don't be upset," she said, patting my arm. "You'll find someone who wants that kind of relationship. We can even double date." Double date? She wanted to double date after rejecting my proposal in front of my entire family. I stayed another hour because leaving immediately would have caused more drama, but inside, something had shifted. The hurt was already turning into something else. Selena hugged me when I left. "Thanks for such an amazing party. You always take such good care of me. You're seriously the best friend ever." "Yeah, well, customer service just closed permanently." I drove home in silence, but my mind was racing. 5 years of my life, $23,000, all those conversations about marriage and kids, and I'm her brother. That night, I didn't sleep. I planned. The next morning, Selena texted me. "Last night was perfect. Sorry if that was weird with the proposal thing, but I'm glad we cleared the air. You're seriously the best friend a girl could ask for. Can you help me move my dresser this weekend?" I stared at that text for a long time. The casual dismissal. The assumption that I'd just go back to normal after being humiliated in front of 35 people. The immediate request for more free labor. She acted like nothing happened. That's when it clicked. Selena was a textbook narcissist, not in the internet diagnosis way, in the actual clinical sense. She genuinely couldn't comprehend that other people had feelings that mattered more than her convenience. I called Jess and told her what happened. "Jesus, Danny, in front of everyone. That's absolutely brutal. And then she asked you to move furniture the next day?" "Yeah. You tried to warn me." What are you going to do? I'm thinking about it. Jess was quiet for a minute. You know what? Good. It's about time you got mad instead of just sad. That girl has been using you for years. That afternoon, I did something I'd never done before. I made a comprehensive inventory. Not just money, everything. I pulled up bank statements, Venmo history, receipts I'd saved in my email. The total was $23,400 over 5 years. But that didn't count the labor. I started a spreadsheet. Hours spent helping her move, 89. Times I'd driven her to the airport, 31. Emergency runs to her apartment for various crises, 67. Hours spent listening to work drama, conservatively 300 plus. At my billable rate, that was another $45,000 in free consulting. Then I made a list of every guy she casually dated while keeping me around as backup. Derek, the personal trainer, 8 months. Michael the bartender, 6 months. Alex from her yoga class, 4 months. Some finance guy whose name I never learned, 3 months. That wannabe influencer with face tattoos, 2 months. She'd cycle through these dudes for romance and hookups, then come crying to me when they didn't work out. I was the emotional janitor who cleaned up after her failed relationships while subsidizing her lifestyle and getting nothing in return except the privilege of hearing about her romantic adventures with other men. But here's what really made me angry. I remembered specific conversations where she'd mock guys who were clingy or expected too much. She'd literally complain to me about men who wanted commitment while I was paying her rent. Selena had been running a 5-year con, and she was so confident she'd humiliated me publicly, assuming I'd just take it and keep funding her lifestyle. Time to show this girl what happens when the mark figures out the game. I spent the next week doing research. I knew this girl better than anyone. Her insecurities, her dependencies, her social media patterns, her work situation, her family dynamics. If I was going to destroy her life, I needed to do it right. Selena was fundamentally lazy, and had never developed adult life skills because there was always someone, usually me, to handle things for her. She was also deeply insecure despite her fake confidence, which is why she needed constant attention and validation. Most importantly, she was financially irresponsible and lived beyond her means because she'd always had me as a safety net. I was about to end all of this. I started with psychological warfare. Selena was used to immediate responses to her texts, so I implemented a delay system. First day, 6-hour delays. Second day, 12 hours. By week 1, I was taking 36 plus hours to respond, if at all. Her confusion was immediate and satisfying. "Why aren't you texting me back?" she called to ask after day 3. "I've been busy." "Busy with what? You always text me back immediately." "Things change." Day 5. Her AC broke during a heat wave. Normally, I'd be over there with tools and a backup window unit within an hour. "Danny, it's like 95 degrees in here, and my landlord isn't answering. Can you come look at it? I'm literally dying." "You should call a repair company." "But you know about this stuff. They'll charge like $300 just to show up." "Yeah, that's how businesses work. Wild concept." "Don't be mean. I really need help." "I'm being realistic." She ended up paying $420 for same-day service. I know because she sent me the receipt with crying emojis, apparently thinking I'd feel guilty and offer to split it. I responded with, "Adulting is expensive." Day 8. car trouble. Her battery died in a Target parking lot. Instead of calling me for a jump, she had to call LA and wait 3 hours because she'd let her membership lapse. "I can't believe you didn't answer when I really needed you," she texted. "I was in meetings all day." "Since when do you not step out of meetings for emergencies?" "Since when is a dead battery an emergency? You have LL." "I let it expire because you always help with car stuff." I didn't respond to that one. Day 12. The kitchen sink started leaking, flooding her bathroom floor. Emergency plumber on Sunday, $650. "This is ridiculous," she texted with photos of the damage. "I can't afford all these repairs." "Maybe start an emergency fund." "With what money? You know how expensive everything is." "Other people manage." By week 2, her texts were getting frantic. "What's going on with you? You're being so weird and cold. Did I do something wrong?" "Just treating you like the friend you said I was." "But we've always been close friends. This feels different." "How?" She couldn't answer because she'd never had to think about what she was actually getting from me. In her mind, my services weren't part of our friendship. They were just part of my personality. The breaking point came when she had her monthly meltdown about work drama. Usually, I drop everything for a 4-hour phone therapy session, followed by bringing her ice cream and comfort food. This time, when she called crying about her boss being unfair, about her project deadline, I let it go to voicemail. She called back immediately. I declined. On the 3rd call, I answered. "What's up?" "Why didn't you answer? I really need to talk." "I'm watching a movie." "Can't you pause it? This is important." "What's the emergency?" "My boss is being a complete jerk, and I'm having a panic attack." "Then you should call your doctor about the panic attack." "Daniel, I don't need a doctor. I need you." "Call Ashley. She's better with work stuff anyway." "Ashley doesn't understand me like you do." "Maybe expand your support system." I hung up. She called back 6 times. I ignored all of them. The next day, she showed up at my apartment at 7 a.m. with Starbucks and tears. "We need to talk," she said, pushing past me into my living room. "I couldn't sleep. You're acting so strange and it's freaking me." Ow. She sat on my couch like she owned the place. "Look, I get that the proposal thing was awkward, but we can't let it ruin our friendship." "What friendship?" "We've been best friends for 5 years." "Name one thing you've done for me in 5 years." "What? That's not fair." "One thing, Selena. One sacrifice you made for me." She stared at me like I'd asked her to solve calculus. "I listened to you." "When have I ever called you with a problem?" "You don't have problems. Your life is perfect." "My life looked perfect because I couldn't afford to have problems while I was solving yours." She started tearing up. "You're being a jerk. This isn't like you." "This is exactly like me. You just never paid attention before." Week 3 is when I started getting creative. Selena had left stuff at my place over the years. Clothes, books, makeup, a laptop charger, some jewelry. So, when she texted asking for her stuff back, I treated her like any other casual acquaintance would. "Sure, I'll be home Saturday between 1 and 3. "Can't you just drop it off? You know where I live." "I'm not making a special trip. Saturday between 1 and 3 or it goes to Goodwill." She showed up at 1:05 looking like she hadn't slept in days. I handed her a garbage bag with her stuff. A garbage bag? Really? Some of this stuff is expensive. You're being so petty. It's all there. She started going through it right there on my doorstep. Where's my blue cashmere sweater, and my good makeup bag, and my grandmother's earrings? If it's not in there, I don't have it. But I know I left them here. The earrings alone are worth $800. I shrugged. Must have lost them. The truth. I'd sold the earrings on eBay for $650, donated the sweater to Goodwill, and thrown the makeup bag in a dumpster behind a convenience store. Petty? Absolutely. Satisfying? You bet. But the real psychological damage came from social media warfare. I started posting again after weeks of silence. Nothing about Selena directly, just shots of me doing things. Hiking with friends, out at restaurants, coffee with coworkers, looking happy and busy. Each post was a message. My life is better without you in it. Selena's response was predictable. Sad posting on Instagram stories. Missing someone who doesn't miss you back. Sometimes people show their true colors. Trust is so fragile. Trying to make me feel guilty. So, I posted a story of my own. Just a photo of the ring box, unopened, sitting on my kitchen counter next to my car keys. Caption: some decisions make themselves. Within an hour, my DMs were flooded. People asking what happened, offering support, questioning Selena's behavior. The narrative was shifting, and she could see it happening in real time. Her story responses got more desperate. It's not always about you, Daniel. Some people need to grow up and communicate. Truth always comes out in the end. But here's the beautiful part. Her own friends were starting to ask questions. Mike told me Selena's coworker asked him if she'd led me on after seeing my ring post. Her cousin commented on Facebook asking why she'd friend-zoned such a good guy. Her college roommate messaged me directly. Dude, what happened? Selena's been posting cryptic stuff all week. Then she made her biggest mistake. She tried to control the narrative by posting a long Facebook rant about fake friends who abandon you when you need them most, and people who can't handle honest communication about feelings, and how some men think they're owed something just for being nice. Bad move. So I made my own Facebook post. Calculated and devastating. Interesting take from someone who accepted $23,400 in financial support over 5 years while dating other people, then laughed at a proposal in front of both families. But sure, I'm the fake friend for expecting basic respect. Thanks everyone for the support during this transition. Life's actually amazing when you stop subsidizing other people's delusions. I included a photo of a spreadsheet showing major expenses with amounts blurred but visible enough to see they were substantial. The comment section exploded. Selena's own friends started sharing their shady moments they'd witnessed over the years. Her college roommate commented, "Wait, you proposed after all those times? She said you guys were just friends, girl." Her work friend Jessica wrote, "This explains so much about her dating patterns." Even some of her family members liked the post. Selena deleted her original post within an hour, but screenshots were already circulating. Then came the phone calls. She called me crying, screaming, bargaining, threatening, the highlights. "You can't post our private business on Facebook. You made it public when you humiliated me in front of everyone. I never asked you to spend that money. You never offered to pay it back either. You're ruining my reputation. I'm just telling the truth. Take it down or I'll... You'll what? Sue me for posting facts? She hung up and immediately started damage control, posting her own response about bitter ex-friends and financial manipulation and how I was weaponizing money, but it was too late. Selena was losing control of the story, and she knew it. By week 4, Selena was in full panic mode. The girl who'd never had to handle adult problems alone was drowning, and I was just getting started. Her car registration expired, and she had no idea how to renew it online. Spent an entire day at the DMV because she'd never done it herself. Her laptop crashed, and she didn't know how to back up files. Lost a week of work. Had to pay Best Buy $300 to recover everything. Her apartment lease was up for renewal, and she'd never negotiated rent before. Ended up paying $200 more per month because she was too intimidated to counteroffer. But I wasn't done. Selena had always been financially reckless because she knew I was there as a safety net. So when her credit card got declined at dinner with friends and she had to text her mom for money like a college freshman, I knew my plan was working perfectly. Then came the masterstroke. I knew Selena's patterns better than she knew them herself. Every few months, she'd have some crisis that required immediate financial help, usually car repairs or medical bills, and it always happened right before rent was due, almost like she'd planned it that way. So I waited, like a spider. Sure enough, 3 days before month end, Selena texted, "Danny, I know things have been weird between us, but my car needs new brakes, and I'm short on rent this month. Can you help? I'll pay you back as soon as I get my bonus next month, please." The same script she'd been using for 5 years. But this time was different. "Sorry, can't help with that. It's just $1,200. You've helped me before." That was different. "We can still help each other as friends. Show me where you helped me financially in the past 5 years." Silence. Because she never had, not once? "That's not fair," she finally replied. "You know I don't make as much as you do." "Then maybe live within your means." She ended up borrowing money from her parents. The humiliation was perfect, but it got better. Her dad called me. Selena's own father called to apologize. "Daniel, I had no idea Selena was taking money from you all these years. Her mother and I are horrified." "It's not your fault, Mr. Peterson." "It absolutely is. We raised her better than this. I want you to know we're cutting her off financially. If she's old enough to use men for money, she's old enough to support herself." "I appreciate that, but you don't need to." "Yes, we do. What she did to you at that birthday party was unforgivable. You deserve better, son." Within 24 hours, Selena's parents had cut off her financial safety net too. Her mom stopped paying her car insurance. Her dad stopped covering her phone bill. Her monthly grocery money disappeared overnight. Selena called Jess crying, begging her to fix this with her parents. Jess's response: "Have you tried taking responsibility for your actions instead of expecting everyone else to clean up your messes?" But I was just getting warmed up. I knew Selena had been telling people at work that she had a complicated relationship situation to explain her recent emotional instability. Her coworker Jessica followed me on Instagram. We'd met at a few parties, so I started being strategic about what I posted. Photos of me at the gym with the caption, "New goals, new mindset." Dinner at expensive restaurants. Weekend trips with friends. Each post was carefully crafted to show I was thriving without her. Selena's response: "It's complicated. Daniel doesn't understand adult relationships. He thinks money equals love. The irony was absolutely beautiful, but the pièce de résistance came when she tried to get our mutual friends to intervene. Daniel's being really cold to Selena, Lisa told Jess. She asked me to talk to him about whatever happened between them. Jess's response was surgical. Selena used my brother as a personal ATM for 5 years while hooking up with other guys, then publicly humiliated him when he proposed. Now she's mad that her meal ticket got revoked. Maybe she should ask one of those dating app hookups for rent money. The story was out there now. People were connecting dots, asking questions Selena couldn't answer without admitting she was a financial predator. The workplace karma was equally satisfying, though. Selena's emotional instability was starting to affect her job performance. She'd been calling in sick frequently, missing deadlines, and apparently crying in meetings. Her boss pulled her aside for a wellness conversation about her recent performance issues. Selena tried to explain that she was going through a difficult personal situation, but when pressed for details, she couldn't exactly say, "My unpaid personal assistant quit, and now I don't know how to function like an adult." The final straw at work came when Selena asked her coworker Brad to help her move apartments on a weekend. Brad, who barely knew her beyond small talk, was baffled. When he declined, Selena had a complete meltdown in the break room about how no one cares about anyone anymore, and people are so selfish these days. HR got involved. Selena was now on a performance improvement plan with mandatory counseling. Mike heard all this through Jessica, who witnessed the break room incident. Apparently, Selena tried to frame it as having a bad day, but multiple co-workers had noticed her increasingly erratic behavior and constant personal phone calls. She was struggling on every front: financial, emotional, professional, and social. And I was just getting started. 3 months after going nuclear, I was a completely different person. Work was thriving, started hitting the gym consistently, and actually had time for hobbies. Also, I started dating Allison. She worked at some tech startup, made $85,000 herself, solved her own problems, paid for her own meals. She was beautiful, but didn't weaponize it. Smart and confident. We'd been dating for 8 weeks when it happened. Allison and I were having dinner at Morello's, the same place where Selena had humiliated me. It was our first time back there, and Allison knew the significance. We were talking about taking a weekend trip to her friend's cabin in Lake Tahoe when I saw Selena walk in. She looked absolutely terrible. Hair unwashed and greasy, baggy clothes that didn't fit right, dark circles under her eyes like she'd been crying for days. She was with some guy I didn't recognize. He looked like he wanted to escape. I thought about warning Allison but decided against it. Selena was my past. Allison was my present. But Selena spotted me within minutes. She kept staring over at our table while trying to pretend she was paying attention to her date. The poor guy was clearly confused by her distraction. Allison noticed immediately. "Is that your ex?" she asked quietly. "Something like that." Selena wasn't content to just stare. About 30 minutes later, while Allison was in the bathroom, Selena came over to our table like a heat-seeking missile. "Daniel," she said, trying to sound casual but failing completely, "fancy seeing you here." "Selena, how have you been?" "You look different. Good different. I'm doing great." She glanced around nervously. "Who's your friend?" "Allison, my girlfriend." The word hit her like a physical slap. Her face went white, then red, then white again. girlfriend already? It's only been like 3 months. Actually, it's been 4 months since you rejected my proposal. But who's counting? Her face twisted with rage and disbelief. 2 months? But how could you move on so fast? Turns out it's easy to move on when someone shows you they never actually wanted you in the first place. Allison returned from the bathroom, and I could see Selena's expression shift as she took her in. Allison was everything Selena pretended to be: naturally beautiful, professionally successful, genuinely confident. The comparison was brutal and obvious. Allison extended her hand politely, reading the situation perfectly. "Nice to meet you." Selena just stared at her like she was seeing a ghost. Then her fake sweetness kicked in. "So you're the rebound?" she said with a poisonous smile. Allison raised an eyebrow. "Excuse me?" "I mean, Daniel's been in love with me for 5 years. You're probably just a way to make me jealous. It's actually kind of sad." The restaurant got quieter. People were starting to stare. Selena's date had come over, looking mortified. Allison looked at me, then back at Selena and smiled. "Actually, Daniel told me all about you. You're the girl who used him as a personal ATM while you dated other guys, right? Then laughed when he proposed?" Selena's face went red. "That's not. We had something special. Special enough that you rejected his proposal in front of everyone." "I didn't reject it. It was unexpected. You don't understand. Daniel and I have history. We have a deep connection." "Had," I corrected. Past tense. "Don't say that," Selena snapped, her composure finally breaking. "You can't just throw away 5 years. I made one mistake. Using my money for 5 years while dating other people wasn't a mistake. It was a business model." People were definitely watching now. Selena's date looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. Selena's voice was getting louder. "Daniel, tell them we had something real." "We didn't." Selena was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks like black rivers. "You can't be with her. She doesn't know you like I do. I need you." Selena screamed it loud enough for the entire restaurant to hear. And there it was, need. Like I was a service she subscribed to. Allison stood up calmly. "Come on, Daniel. Let's go somewhere with better entertainment." I threw cash on the table and stood up. Selena grabbed my arm desperately. "Please don't leave," she whispered, but loud enough for nearby tables to hear. "I can't do this without you. I'll do anything. I'll pay you back. I'll make it right." Allison and I walked toward the exit. Behind us, Selena was crying harder, her date trying to calm her down while other diners whispered and stared. The staff was moving toward their table. As we reached the door, I heard Selena shout, "She'll never love you like I do." I turned back one last time. "You loved what I could do for you. There's a difference." The entire restaurant was staring at her now. Her date looked mortified and was clearly planning his escape. The manager was approaching their table. Allison squeezed my hand as we got in her car. "Wow, what a complete mess. She's not usually that unhinged." "Oh, she's completely unhinged, but in a pathetic way, nothing scary." We drove back to Allison's place, made us coffee, and had a good, peaceful evening. "I'm sorry you had to see that," I said. "Are you kidding? That was better than Netflix." Selena texted me 31 times that night. Apologies, explanations, threats, desperate attempts to salvage something from the wreckage. I blocked her number without reading most of them, but not before screenshotting the best ones to send to Jess. The highlights. She's just using you for your money like I would never do. You're making a huge mistake, and you'll realize it when she shows her true colors. I know I hurt you, but we belong together. Fine. Be with that witch, but don't come crying to me when it doesn't work out. She's having a complete breakdown. Beautiful. That restaurant meltdown was just the beginning of Selena's complete unraveling. The best part? She did most of the work herself. What I didn't know was that Selena had started a full-scale campaign to destroy my reputation and win me back simultaneously. She was DMing my friends, my coworkers, even my cousins, spinning some sob story about how I'd abandoned her in her time of need. The problem was, everyone knew the real story now. My coworker Jake forwarded me her message. Daniel and I were together for 5 years, and he just cut me off completely over a misunderstanding. I'm really worried about him because this isn't like him. Can you talk to him? Jake's response was perfect. If by together you mean you used him as a personal ATM, then yeah, I heard about that misunderstanding where you laughed at his proposal. Maybe don't contact his coworkers about your personal drama. She tried the same thing with my gym buddy, my neighbor, even my dentist's office. Each time she got shut down harder. But the real breakdown came when she tried to get our mutual friends to choose sides. She organized a girls' night to tell her side of the story. According to Lisa, who filled Jess in on everything, Selena spent 3 hours painting me as a manipulative, controlling ex-friend who'd used money to try to force her into a relationship she didn't want. The girls listened politely, but they weren't buying it. Ashley finally spoke up. Selena, you literally asked Daniel to pay your rent last month, 3 months after rejecting his proposal. How is that him being controlling? The girls' night ended early, and Selena's last real friend group dissolved overnight. But Selena kept spiraling. She'd apparently taken out a payday loan to cover her expenses after I cut her off, and her parents stopped helping. The interest rates were predatory, and she was drowning. She tried to get a second job at Target to make ends meet, but she'd never worked retail before and couldn't handle the physical demands or customer service requirements. She quit after 2 weeks, claiming her manager was discriminating against her for being educated. Her main job wasn't going much better. She'd been put on a strict schedule with regular check-ins, but she couldn't adjust to having actual accountability. Then came the eviction notice. Selena had been late on rent for 3 consecutive months, and her landlord finally had enough. She had 30 days to pay up or get out, and she didn't have the money. She tried everything. Applied for emergency assistance, denied because she made too much money on paper. Tried to get a loan, terrible credit score from maxed out cards. Even considered moving back in with her parents, but they'd made it clear she wasn't welcome. In desperation, she started selling her stuff, but it wasn't enough. She was still short on rent, and time was running out. That's when she made her final desperate move. She showed up at my office. My receptionist called back to warn me. Daniel, there's a woman here to see you. I almost had security escort her out, but I wanted to see just how far she'd fallen. She looked even worse than at the restaurant. Thinner, paler. She'd clearly been crying recently. What do you want, Selena? I'm in trouble, real trouble. Not my problem. Please just listen. I'm about to be evicted. I don't have anywhere to go. Sounds rough. I know I hurt you, but I'm desperate. Can you help me one last time? After everything she'd put me through, she still thought she could show up asking for money. Nope. I'll pay you back with interest. I'll get another job. I'll do anything. The answer is still no. I was young and stupid and I don't care. She started crying again. I'll be homeless. You'll figure it out. You're resourceful when you need to be. She stared at me like I was a stranger. Maybe I was. You've changed, she whispered. I've learned my worth, something you never bothered to figure out. Security escorted her out after she refused to leave on her own. She was still crying, still begging. That was 8 months ago. Last I heard through the grapevine, she had moved back to her hometown to live with her aunt. She's working at a call center and living in a studio apartment. Her social media presence has basically disappeared. She tried to contact me one more time on my birthday with a long email about how she'd learned so much about herself. The email ended with, I know you're happy with Allison, but I hope someday we can be friends again. You were the best person in my life, and I was too stupid to see it. I showed it to Allison, who just shook her head. She still doesn't get it, Allison said. Nope, some people never learn. I deleted the email without responding. Got engaged to Allison 2 months ago. Used the same ring Selena rejected, but had it reset in a new style Allison preferred. Allison said yes before I even finished asking, then tackled me with excitement. I was wondering when you were going to ask, she laughed. I've been ready since our 3rd date. Turns out when someone actually wants to marry you, they don't need 5 years to think about it. We're planning a destination wedding in Costa Rica next spring. Small ceremony, close friends and family only. 2 months until the wedding, and I've never been happier. Life's pretty amazing when you stop subsidizing other people's delusions and start investing in people who actually value you. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube, this video deserves to blow up.